Oh, hey, you got the pre-show up there. And now we'll
Mhm.
go over to Facebook and refresh the screen. Hopefully there's a video waiting for us. Refresh and it says, "Welcome back, Technorama Podcast." It's not what I
I
did.
feel like, I missed a
Your eyes were closed.
I feel like I missed a comment or something somewhere, but maybe not.
Like a voicemail or something?
Yeah, something,
We got Kyle's.
hmm?
We got Mad Marbs in the show
Yeah,
notes.
I put that one in there as soon as I saw it.
Okay.
Give me one second. Let's see, Technorama. No,
No, we got
think that's pretty
didn't
much it.
didn't share.
Alright.
And I think YouTube just said, "Hey, look,
It did?
Technorama is now online." Nice graphic, by the way. The C64 with a
Yeah,
staticky TV
you like that? Hey, you
and
know
the
what's
and the lamp from Pixar.
so I was anxious to see the Flash trailer for the movie coming up,
Yeah.
and when I pulled up YouTube on my TV, I went, "Why does that look familiar?" Oh, that's our show. It was over there, I was on my subscriptions. I'd forgotten
I
about that.
I gotta tell you, I'm really kinda disappointed by the Super Bowl commercials this year.
When have you been impressed with them?
There's been a few originals over the years, like,
Back
"Oh,
in
that's"
2000 when the
yeah,
dot when the when the dot-com era, and
when everybody was throwing money at Super Bowl commercials and
oh,
not
yeah, there were some
recommending a
great
company.
ones. Yeah. Yeah,
Alright.
and I think ever since then, everybody goes, "Oh, maybe next year. These aren't that great." And they keep saying that, but the last time I remember them being good was way back then. So, like my favorite one was the cat herders. Ca- the
I'm
cowboys that
I'm
had
I'm
scratches all over their faces, and they
I'm
were,
just glad that "What's up" is gone.
yeah.
I
Well,
hated
just
that stuff.
wait, it'll come
Well,
back.
yeah, what is it? Michelob Light or Bud Ultra or something. Michelob Ultra has brought back, Caddyshack. They're doing a series of those.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, which
Hmm.
are kinda funny. They've got golfers playing. So, like,
Yeah.
Jordan Spieth is, Carl the groundskeeper.
Right.
Pretty funny.
Let's see. I was trying to.
We have no viewers at this point. Everybody's probably watching the game.
I'm sure. I'm sure. That's all right.
Uh-oh. Patrick Mahomes is up limping. He's heading off the field. We were afraid of that.
All right.
Those that are
Technorama.
watching later know exactly what I'm talking about. It's just before the half.
Google Voice.
This is when you put in the backup quarterback and go, "Hey, look, they're doing much better." Sweep the leg, Johnny. That's what that looked like.
Sweep the leg.
Yeah, the tackler came in and went for his bad leg, and he came up limping. It looked like a sweep the leg moment. I'm calling shenanigans on this. All right, let's record our podcast and
All
see
right. I was making sure I didn't see any voicemail voicemails or
I
anything either.
didn't.
So
Yeah,
okay.
I looked on Friday.
Okay. All right.
Here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Technorama episode 702 for February 15th, 2023. We're titling this one, "They Shot Down the Technorama Blimp."
Ah!
Hey, welcome to Technorama, the show that takes a lighthearted look at tech, science, sci-fi, and all things geek. We've got a viewer joining us. All right, we got
What?
somebody live. Yep, somebody joined us. My name is Chuck Tomasi from Sunny Phoenix, Arizona. If you are joining us for the first time, welcome or welcome back to Technorama. Watching, listening, whatever you're doing out there, we make this a multi-channel experience. Ooh, sounds fancier when we call it an experience, doesn't it? Joining
Yeah.
me right over there is Craig Stepp. How are you, Craig?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
Good. He's going to learn to look the right way sooner.
Well, I'm looking at myself reversed on the screen, and
So am I.
so
I just know Craig's over by the window.
over by the window.
You just
That's
put a
right.
picture of me over on your
I'm gonna get a
right side.
cardboard standout. You and your bow tie.
Wave to the guy with the little teddy bear with a bow tie on him. All right.
Right.
Thank you so much. We are in, what is it, mid-February now? Moving into late
Mm,
February? Oh my
we're
god.
moving into mid-February here. Well, yeah, pretty much.
Oh man, time is flying, Craig. I've got like 5 business days left to work in the month. because we are going on the Star Trek cruise, and I'm looking at my goals for February.
Yeah.
But I'm done. I don't know what I'm going to get done in time because we're going to get back on March 6th and go, well, now it's mid-March. God, ugh.
Did you take off the entire week of the cruise? That week?
Well, yeah, we're getting back Friday afternoon.
No. I mean, you said you had 5 working days, so the 2 or so days before the cruise, or did you take
Well,
off the
there's
entire
3
week?
days. We're taking off Thursday and Friday, and then there's like a marketing all hands kickoff thing going on Tuesday. Like,
Mm,
this is
of
gonna be tough.
course.
This is gonna be tough.
Yeah. So
So,
anyway, yeah. So got a lot going on. There's something looming. I've got to take care of work at work, and I'm thinking I got to be able to pull this off this week because
uh-huh.
I'm not. Otherwise, it's just gonna have to wait till March.
It's down to priorities. We lost our viewer.
Talking about priorities.
I thought the
uh,
commercials were better than us, and that's saying something.
Yeah.
All right, well,
Hey,
let's begin
hey,
with
we
our
should have played. We should have played the
Oh my
football. Remember the football
gosh.
goal? Bowl
Oh,
that
no, that was like a 3-part series that we
yeah,
interleaved in the show.
that was fun. I
Yeah,
liked
it was fun.
yeah.
Maybe next year.
Yeah. maybe it'll be with the better commercials in the Super Bowl.
It'll age better with like
Yeah.
fine wine and cheese. Let's do our history then. Oh wait, no, we've got feedback first.
Yeah.
What
Hold
am I
up.
doing?
Wait a minute.
Oh, kidding.
Letters. Oh, we get letters. We get your letters every day. Mailman, mail today. Reach right in and pull one out. Those letters. I love those letters. Let's find out what you got to say.
Oh boy.
Mailman, mail today.
Now we are recording this as the Super Bowl is playing in the background. So Craig's title says Chief Architect on the video. Does that mean you're rooting for Kansas City?
Huh? Yeah. No, I don't know.
No, okay.
I don't have a dog in this fight.
Me neither. Our question of the week last week was, if you could go back in time and witness a historic moment, which would you choose? And Sweet Steve London says the charge of the Light Brigade, October 25th, 1854, or Pickett's charge at Bull Run, June 3rd, 1863. Wow, he knows his American history. He's also says,
kidding.
or Stockholm, August 10th, 1628, to witness Vasa's maiden voyage. The Vasa. That would be cool. The oversized ship that just went out on a maiden voyage and tipped over because it was too top heavy.
Yay. Fritz Ulrich Seward says Butch Cassidy burying his stash. That's a good one. Thus knowing the exact spot. Then back in our time, I could go find it, getting rich and famous. I think I see him doing this, rubbing his hands together, saying that. The only caveat, although I'm able to operate a GPS device, back in time it wouldn't work. Right.
Yeah, and if you went, oh, it's 15 paces from that rock, it's like who's to say that rock's gonna be there in a couple
Remember
hundred.
Yellowbeard? Go 2 steps and then tumble and then stumble this way. Remember that movie?
No, I don't think I saw Yellowbeard.
It had mostly Monty Python people in it. Yellowbeard, he had he tattooed the map of his treasure on the top of his son's head, and when they went to go get it, it was stuff like he was trying to remember how to get to it. It was like stumble this way, stumble once, and then
I do remember seeing something about that. Yeah.
It's anyway. I'm gone.
All right. John Kratzer says construction of ENIAC.
Hmm.
Ooh, I think we have a
We have
historic
footage.
moment about the ENIAC.
We have footage from that.
We
I'm
have an
just kidding.
ENIAC in the back room.
Huh? Yeah, right. Lone Guys Night says first accessible space shuttle launch, that or the Apollo 11 launch.
So you'd want to go there. I mean, I was alive for both of those, but
Mhm.
actually being at the Apollo 11 launch, I thought it would be fun just to go back in time and like see your neighborhood before it was developed, like when it was woods or in my case, the side of a desert hill.
Yeah.
Where exactly is it would be hard to place that because, the bulldozer and the excavators, they come through and they do their thing. Where
Well-
exactly was my house?
Well, here in my hometown, there's a book, and it has it was talking about the town early on and some of the
Mhm.
history, and it had pictures of the main drag, which is Cherry Road. It's one of the main roads, down to the
Yeah.
town. Anyway, so there's a picture of Mr. Cherry in like a car going down a dirt road. And I'm like, that's like right where there's this little strip mall where it is today.
Exactly. It would be so
Yeah,
hard to recognize those landmarks today, or if you went back in time, where are those? I remember, underneath, Atlanta Jackson Hurtsfield International Airport, they've got the walkways between the different, terminals,
yeah,
and if I've got time, say you've got an hour or so before your flight, take a walk down there, and they've got this historic timeline of the city, and as you go from terminal to terminal to terminal, and finding those streets and then looking on the map going, "Where is that today? Does it even still exist?" Is the
oh yeah,
it's really fascinating. I guess that comes from growing up in an old town, well, old in American terms, that, I'd look at this lithograph and go, "Hey, the town ended at this street and that street, but now it's vastly spread out." So, it's just kind of getting the perspective of what was there in the past, or before it was there, what was
yeah.
there.
Yeah, actually, that picture I was just telling you about where he was driving on the dirt road,
Yeah,
right behind him is probably where the university is at. That it's
yeah.
like nothing,
There
you
were
know.
some pictures like that in Appleton, like, "Here they are out on County Road A." I'm like, "Okay, I think the police department's there now."
Right,
And
right.
it looks like this country road with nothing but two-lane dirt road, some ditches, and telephone poles going, "Yeah, I could see that."
Yeah.
Now there's a roundabout just ahead of them.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Okay, what else do we have?
Let's see. Weber Baker says, Philippides entering the assembly to declare victory over the Battle of Marathon. Okay,
Okay.
he says, okay, a little creepy, wanting to watch a naked man claim victory in a language I don't speak, just to see if he really collapses. All
I
right.
know it's probably, blasphemous, but I
Hmm.
would like to go back and discover who Jesus really was, how he died, what the events were, to just, like, validate how much of this is historic document. But I know that
Yeah.
goes against what faith is. You think about what he said to Thomas, "Happy are
Hmm.
those who believe but do not see."
Right.
So, yeah, it would in a way, I'd feel kinda cheated if I did that, like, looking at the answers in the back of the book.
Well, it's certainly a fun thought exercise for sure. But yeah.
Right. Okay,
Yeah.
you have a couple of comments on your share.
Yep. So our buddy Mark Kilfoyle says, with all that time, oh my gosh, I'm gonna let you read that one.
Okay, with all that time to choose, how can I select just one? I've give you 3. June 14th, 1947, or thereabouts, in Roswell, New Mexico.
Hmm.
I'd really like to see with my own eyes, with my modern lens, and with modern lenses of photography equipment, just what crashed in the desert. Sometime before April 1st, 1976, to see what a young pair of Steves were up to in a garage and experience the founding days of Apple with a
Oh,
pair of very different nerds.
that could be fun. Yeah.
Here's another one. Sometime between the 12th and 18th century, when the original depositors were landing, building and burying on Oak Island. Honestly, if the show about the search is at all accurately, I'm going to try that again. I have been
Hmm.
drinking. Is at all accurate, the entire island should be watching on fast rewind to see if the sheer number of groups who were involved at different times. And a bonus one.
Okay.
It could be any of the events in the very busy Jesus life. Hey, what I was talking about.
That's right.
I did not read this beforehand, ladies and gentlemen. But maybe I'd pick the miracle of loaves and fishes to get a view of what technology he was using and try to get a glimpse of the spacecraft he or his father arrived in. Although the latter is likely to be lost by the point, so maybe I need to go back to the beginning when the ship landed. And now I can think of a dozen more. Also,
Hey, wait a minute. It sounds like he's describing the life of Brian.
or Star Trek. Any
Yeah, remember the
sophisticated
alien, the
technology.
spaceship in
Yeah.
Life of Brian?
All right,
Uh,
I'm gonna finish this, and then I got a
yeah,
comment
yeah.
to go back to Jesus, actually back to Moses. Also, this is prominent among the reasons why the Doctor exists and has appeal to so many. And of course, the interesting science fictional implications of a device that allows us to view any point in time in the past, such as privacy, deliberate mythology, disillusionment, discovery, and the FOMO, fear of missing out, logical
Mhm.
addiction of a fire hose of infinite details, both grand and tiny. Okay, now there,
Mhm.
I mentioned on our topic is no, I think I mentioned this on this show. What have we been watching lately when we had Clinton on
Yep.
last week?
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
I've been watching a lot of historical documentaries because Paramount Plus has a live TV channel, and there's a limited number of these things, so I'm starting to
Yeah.
see repeats. But I watched one on the 10 plagues of Moses, and they attribute all of them
Mhm.
to the right time frame when the island of Santorini, I forget the name of the volcano, but Santorini is just off Greece. It blew, and it blew big. And they said the sulfur in the water turned the river red. It drove all the frogs out. They died on the land. They killed this, and even the ergot in the wheat, that it was a mold that killed all the firstborn. It can all be attributed to the sequence of events of Santorini blowing up. So
Wow. Wow.
still the mystery is, how did Moses know that was going to happen? So there you go.
Yeah.
So you can mix science and religion just fine. Uh,
Sure. Absolutely.
Now, the fishes and loaves, another good one to look into. How was that done? Or water to wine? Very good question. Okay, Michael Slobodnik also says Jornada del Muerto
Yep.
on July 16th, 1944, 5:29 a.m. I have to go look that up. I'm not familiar with that. What that is? Do you know?
Absolutely not.
It'd be Jornada de Muerto. Then.
Yes. Yeah, you said it wrong.
I didn't know what language it was until I was halfway through that line. And then I got one from Gary Lindros, and he says VE Day in Times Square.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be like the ultimate party, wouldn't it?
Wow, I would think so. Yeah.
World War II is finally done.
Gary try and slip in and kiss that nurse.
and become that giant statue in San Diego.
That's right. That's right.
I don't think that'll work. All right. We also have one from Mad Marv. He said, if I could go back in time, I'd go back to the 1930s Honolulu.
Okay.
Basically, my hometown around the time my grandparents were born. I remember a few stories from them and how the city was back then. And I'd like to see what Honolulu was like before it built up. That is an awesome idea. I would also love to go and see snippets of like real life from my grandparents, my great grandparents, what they did way back in when they were still in Italy, or just trace back your lineage and
Yeah.
what kind of one of those Back to the Future moments where you're talking to your relatives, but they
Right.
don't know who you are.
Yeah.
And maybe sneak in a few pictures or videos with your phone.
Well, as you're talking about going, we were just talking about looking back and seeing what the area looked like before it built up. My first thought was Back to the Future when he travels to the past and he stops the DeLorean and there's like the entrance to his neighborhood, but the neighborhood's not built out yet.
Get used to those bars, Uncle Joey.
Yeah.
Well, I saw this in a rerun. What's a rerun?
Yeah, what's a rerun?
So,
Well,
my mom says that her dad was very clever, and she's given me a few snippets of what he said over the years. I would love to talk to that guy. I think he'd have that, snappy witticism, kind of comeback, clever, thought out response. I would love to pick his brain and just sit down and have a conversation with him. Before I knew who he was, but by the time I got to know who he was pretty much a shell of a man from alcoholism.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, good stuff. All right, I'm going to play out the history. We're going to have another question for you. Not the history. I'm going to play out the feedback. Another question for you at the end of the show.
That's right.
Into the history then. On this day in history for February 15th, 2023. Oh, happy Valentine's, everybody.
Happy Valentine's Day to you, Chuck.
Thank you. I'll put something in the shoebox on your desk.
Yeah. Shoot.
This is the 46th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar. There are 319 days remaining in 2023. We do have a fact about the Gregorian calendar coming up. But before we
What?
get there, it was on this date in 1493. Well, on board the Nina, Christopher Colombo wrote an open letter. I guess that was like open source back then, which was widely distributed upon his return to Portugal, describing his discoveries and the unexpected items he came across in the New World.
Hey, Christopher Colombo. Let me see.
Just
Trying to
one,
paint a mental picture here.
one more thing here,
Yeah,
ma'am.
that's right. It's just one more.
There's naked people. Go ahead.
It was 153 years ago today that Stevens Institute of Technology was founded in New Jersey, U.S., and offered the first Bachelor of Engineering degree in mechanical engineering.
153 years ago, we got mechanical engineers officially.
Hey, is there another New Jersey outside of the U.S.?
Maybe. There's Old Jersey,
That's
which
Old
is
Jersey.
it's like York and New York. And New York, but we
I
won't go
just
there.
thought it sounded funny. We had to qualify it with U.S.
February 15, 1923, Greece became the last European country to adopt the Gregorian calendar. Look, folks, you kind of took your own sweet time of a couple hundred years on this one.
Come on, pick it up. And that same date in 1946, we've already talked about this once today, the ENIAC, the first electronic general purpose computer, was formally dedicated.
Ooh-ah.
It was formally dedicated at the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia.
Gerald Lancaster Harding. I had to say that slow because it didn't make sense at first.
Oh,
And Roland DeVoe began excavations at Cave 1 of the Qumran Caves, where they would eventually discover the first 7 Dead Sea Scrolls on that date in 1949. I've been there. I have a picture of my daughter standing right in front of that little opening.
wow. And that same date in 1941, the decimalization of
You mean
the-
71?
That's what I said.
1971.
What'd I
You said
say?
41. 41.
Okay. Same date in 1971, the decimalization of the currencies in the United Kingdom and Ireland was completed on Decimal Day.
Happy Decimal Day, everyone.
Put your dot on it.
0.001.
Right.
It was 51 years. You know what they were converting? They were converting the currency. So instead of guineas and shillings and
Yes.
pence, it was now like 110, 100 stuff. 51 years ago today, the sound recordings were granted U.S. federal copyright protection for the first time.
Sound
This-
recordings. Okay.
This podcast is copyright.
Wow. Only 51 years ago? That doesn't seem like that long ago for something like that.
1972.
Also today in 2001, the first draft of the complete human genome was published in Nature.
We'll talk about that a little later when we get to the remote section.
Yeah.
It was also on this date in 2013 that a meteor exploded over Russia. That was 10 years ago today.
Oh, yes.
Chelyabinsk, wow. Injuring 1,500 people, a shockwave that blows out windows and rocks buildings. This happened unexpectedly only hours before the expected closest ever approach of the larger and unrelated asteroid 2012 DA14.
All right. So happy birthday goes out on this date, too. Italian astronomer, physicist, and mathematician Galileo Galilei, born on this date in 1564.
Galileo. Okay. American journalist and businessman co-founded the International Harvester. Cyrus
Yeah.
McCormick was born 214 years ago. He was that IH has been around a long time.
It has been a long time. Born February 15th, 1812, American businessman founded the Tiffany and Company, Charles Lewis Tiffany.
Well, that makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Irish mathematician, academic, and activist Sophie Bryant was born 173 years ago today.
And Spiriu Haret, Romanian mathematician, astronomer, and politician, 55th Romanian minister of internal affairs, was born on that same date in 1851.
That's where romaine lettuce comes from, I think.
Yeah.
Born February 15th, 1861, English mathematician and philosopher Alfred North Whitehead.
And Charles Edouard
Edouard Guillaume.
I know, Edouard Guillaume, Swiss French physicist and academic Nobel Prize laureate, was born on that same date in 1861.
German, Swedish biochemist and academic Nobel Prize laureate Hans von Euler-Schelpen was born on this date in 1873.
And American actor and comedian Harvey Korman was born 96 years ago today
Oh,
that.
Boris, can we get in another hanging today?
I'm
Also-
sorry. I don't know if we can work it in.
I'll check my calendar, sir.
Yeah.
Also turning 89 today, a Swiss computer scientist created the Pascal programming language, Nicholas Worth.
American animator, producer, screenwriter Matt Groening was born on this date in 1954.
Eat my shorts, man.
Yeah.
Also turning 59 today is American engineer and astronaut Leland D. Melvin.
And last but not least, American comedian and actor Chris Farley was born on this date in 1964.
Woo! Well, we made it to the end of the events. We'll get the birthdays in a second. I just want to hear the end of the song.
There you go.
Listener birthdays for the week of February 15th through 21st include Philip from Australia on February 15th. Happy birthday to you. 17th, Bob Trait, formerly of Megapodtastic and Action Figure Junkies. Hot John Miller, also formerly of Megapodtastic. Well, on the 18th. Joe, you got to do some spreading out here, buddy.
Yeah.
Another birthday on the 18th, Roy Insalaco from Central Village, Connecticut. Scooter in Connecticut, Steve in Sumter, and Steve Cody in South Carolina are all on the 19th. Happy birthday to all of you. And it is, if it's your birthday this week, between February 15th and the 21st, between the chiclets and the erasers, just on this shelf only. Okay. That was a little too specific. Happy birthday to all of you. We wish you all the best. And we will give you a shout out if you put your name on the birthday calendar. Just go to the link that Craig's going to show on the bottom of the screen, which is going to read chuckchat.com/birthday. We'll get you your information.
Look at there. Tim Elliott's in the chat room tonight.
Hey, Tim.
Ain't seen you in a while, Tim.
How's it going? Good to see you. Good to see you. A long time listener. He goes way, way, way back.
Oh, yeah. He's as old as we are.
Or older. I'm not sure. Let's do some news,
He's
shall
at least
we?
as old as the podcast is. How about that?
Let's see. Where's my impending news? I can't find impending news. We'll just do this one.
Good startling news, everyone!
Okay, this is good startling news if you think about it. Because scientists are working on reincarnating a woolly mammoth in 4 years. They've been working on this for a couple already.
What could possibly go wrong?
Jurassic Park, anyone? Just because we can do a thing doesn't mean we should do a thing. What movies have you not been watching lately? It
Yeah,
never
right.
goes well. Now, there's this company called Colossal, which I guess they didn't want to call themselves Mammoth to limit them to one product.
A little bit too on the nose.
Yeah, it's too soon. It's too soon. They scored an additional $60 million in funding to continue their research that they started in 2021. And I did click through the dive deeper that says maybe we shouldn't resurrect a woolly mammoth. And
Right.
I'm tending to agree because they're using most of the DNA, like 99.6% is the same as an Indian elephant.
Yes.
So they'll just splice in the rest. So it's not going to be a pure mammoth. It's going to be a woolly
Hybrid.
mammothant, whatever they're calling it.
A mammoth.
That,
Well,
yeah,
it's a hybrid. It's not a. It's yeah.
but it's mostly mostly elephant with
Mhm.
they're using the CRISPR technology, which we've all been keeping up on, right? Where you can splice in
Yep.
just the right genes to do this trick.
Mhm.
And they've got the genes from some of the tusks that were preserved in Siberia. So in the other article, it says maybe that's not such a good idea because we don't know why the woolly mammoths kind of went out of date. There was this ice age from 1.1 million years ago to about 11,000 years ago that the climate changed, it warmed up, and woolly mammoths kind of went along with a lot of other
So
large.
they're gonna grow one, and it's like the temperature is what it is today. So-
even warmer than when
Yeah.
they went extinct.
Right. That's what
Well,
I'm getting at. You know,
My
so
other thing about elephants is they pass a lot of their knowledge, like how to behave, what to eat, where to find salt licks, et cetera, through tradition, through memory. The matriarch will take them on this. Have you ever watched an elephant documentary? They're pretty
Yeah.
fascinating.
yeah.
If you're the first mammoth that grows up and they go, okay, little guy, go out into the wild. You're going to go, what the hell do you want me to do out here?
That's
You know,
right.
I'm going to die. I don't know what to eat. I don't know where to go. They are thinking that introducing mammoths could have a positive impact on the environment because their migration trails, they actually pack down the tundra and they'll keep snow in place longer and they'll do better things for the soil that they were part of this ecosystem. Well, that was part of the ecosystem, 10,000 years
Yeah.
ago.
Let's say
Well,
things changed a little bit, right?
things have changed a lot a bit and we're getting even warmer. So they're going to go, whoo, pick the wrong day to wear a sweater. Yeah, it's just,
Right.
it's not, I
Hey.
don't think this makes sense. I mean, from a scientific standpoint, I applaud them for bringing back an extinct species. But are they going to suddenly start introducing conflict between humans? Like this mammoth comes by and, pushes down all your ice fishing shanties going, well, got to shoot them. It's
How do you
just,
know they don't like to stomp people?
yeah. I mean,
Hey, okay, it's warmer than it was in the Ice Age. Hey, Chad, you need to shave the woolly mammoth again.
yeah. Thanks, Carl. That was your turn. Yeah,
Oh, look
so
who we get.
I-
Hey,
from the standpoint of bringing back an extinct species, I think that's cool.
yeah.
We could do that with
I think it's a
dodos.
neat
We could do
idea.
that with, what they call the Tasmanian tiger, the lycopene. I can't remember. No, lycopene is a drug.
Liger, the liger,
The saber-toothed cat, maybe.
right?
So there's lots of potential positives to this. But again, you have to look at ethically, does it make sense?
Yeah.
Because
Look there.
in order to have a viable population, you can't just you need a couple hundred of these things just in North America alone.
Yep.
So, are you going to build up a zoo? And where is that going to?
Right.
I'm kind of skeptical on this one. Like,
Well, speaking of ancient animals, look, we got Digital Dan Hook in there tonight.
woohoo!
Yeah,
Ancient animals.
and then
Wow, you're pretty cruel. 59 in May.
yeah,
Right up there with you, buddy. Oh man, podcasting since I was in my 30s. Moving into that'll be the fourth decade when I get into the 60s. Oh man.
that's right.
Okay. Let's hope we're still going. Okay, let's move on to the next article. Part of the sun is broken, and scientists are baffled. This is a sun from Indy100.com.
Not good.
Well, it's not, it doesn't sound catastrophic, like broken as in we're in danger. What they
Yeah.
discovered is you've got coronal mass ejections, which is kind of go, they
Right.
spew out photons, protons, and plasma
Mhm.
away from the sun. Well, this is kind of like that. What they discovered is along about 55 degrees latitude, the sun put forth this kind of like a CME, and it just sort of hung around and moved north, almost like northern lights for the sun. And it
Yep.
just stays there for a few days and then goes away. And this happens like every 4 years or so during solar maximum. Solar maximum being this 11-year cycle where you've got high activity of sunspots and low activity of sunspots. We're moving towards solar maximum again.
Right.
So if you're in northern latitudes and you want to see some northern lights, that's a pretty cool thing. But the article really didn't give me the oh my gosh moment or that's fascinating. They just say it's very curious. There's a big why question around it. Why does it only move toward the pole one time and then disappears and then comes back magically 3 or 4 years later at the exact same region? Okay, it's a nice intro piece, but I don't know that they actually answered any questions. The headline was more
no, but it's
sensational than the rest of the article. Thank you,
something-
Harry Fletcher.
yeah, it's something to think about. I mean, there's a lot. There was obviously so much that we don't know about the sun.
That's
And
where I
then-
was going next. Yeah.
And then when things like this happen, it's just natural for it only because of the way things are moving around there, and we just don't know.
That's the big point is we don't know, but we are always learning and observing, and maybe somebody will go, oh, this is tied to something else, or this is caused by, or yep, it happens. It's just kind of like
Well, just like our core reverses
polarity
on the
about
Earth.
26,000 years,
Yeah.
which is interesting because isn't that roughly the same period of time the Earth takes to process? It's got that wobble on its axis.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was about 25 or 26,000 years also.
I don't know. I wasn't there last time.
Maybe it's once around the loop and then click, and
Yeah.
then the poles
Right.
reverse. Imagine if that happened, and I think it's due any day now. What would that do to
Right.
GPS? What would that do to compasses? What would that do to a lot of stuff? It's like, yeah, that pole flipping thing is kind
Well,
of,
well, they acted like it wasn't a big deal, or big as a deal as you think. So I
and
don't
it's
know.
not like you can predict it like, oh, Y2K or the 2037, Unix time thing is coming.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, when it happens, it happens.
Well, I remember being in school playing with magnets and learning about the poles, and imagine everything you learned is now backwards.
North is south, south is
Yeah.
north. Well, it's not gonna
Ugh.
be
I was
like
thinking,
will still repel and
yeah.
opposites will still attract. That's not
Right.
going to change.
No, I know. Right. I'm just saying the north and the south part.
Alright, should we move on to our 3rd news story?
Yes, let's do it.
IBM says it's been running an AI supercomputer since May, but chose now to tell the world.
Thank you.
So, long story short, there's 2 options you have for building a supercomputer. One is to build it on premise, use bare metal, and build your way up.
Mhm.
Makes it much more performant. To make it much more scalable and deployable is build it in the cloud with VMs. IBM chose the latter. That's what I got out of this story.
Yep.
Not sure what else to say about it. They go into some of the specs about the machines that they actually provided.
It's
Second
running.
gen Xeon scalable processors configured with 1.5 terabytes of DRAM, 3.2 terabyte NVMe flash drives, plus
No, you
80
missed
gigs
the
of RAM.
surprising part. It's
What's
running
that?
on 3 Raspberry Pis.
That would be impressive. I thought you were going to say Apple IIs or
Yeah.
C64s for a
No,
minute.
I thought this was interesting because everybody's been up in arms about Chat GPT and how it's changing the world.
And
How
Bard.
Bard, how it's changing their stock value. Uh, and then you get something like this and go, oh, we've actually been running this, running the supercomputer out in the wild since May.
Yeah.
So what has it been doing?
But they're not making it public at this point. It's for research scientists only. It's not you.
Mhm.
There's no APIs that you can tie in like ChatGPT.
No, no. So I just thought it was interesting, but there's a lot going into AI right now.
Yes, there is, and that's a good news for everyone.
Hmm. It is
We
good news for everybody.
Good news, everyone!
There we go. We've been confirmed.
We've been
Cuban
confirmed.
says it's fine. Let's go into the Hex and Strange Stories. Apparently, we need to have like a holy Christmas for the gibbons. Gibbons being primates.
Yeah,
Because
it's like a Jesus theme tonight.
right, we're on Jesus tonight because Japanese zookeepers found a female gibbon who lived by herself in a cage who gave birth. Like, whoa, how'd that happen?
Yeah.
Did an angel show up and go, "Fear not"? What's the gibbon's name? It didn't say. 12-year-old white-handed monkey at the Kujukushima Zoo at Botanical Garden. Does it give her name? Nope, I don't see her name in here. But anyway, what they found was there's a male in an adjacent cage,
Mhm.
and there's a wall between them, but there's one metal plate with a 9mm hole in it. So she backed up to this thing, and yeah, it was
Interesting.
the gibbon version of a glory hole, and that's all she wrote.
That's just-
That's what it was. Come on, yeah.
I know. Just saying.
Monkey
Wow,
gibbon.
it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, so they figured out how she got pregnant. It was like,
Yeah.
Carl, you left the feeding tube open again.
Right.
So yeah, no miracle here, but
Yeah, it did sound interesting when I first read it though. I was like, what?
a gibbon who lived alone in her cage had a baby from CTV News. All right, let's give a shout out to the chat room. We mentioned Digital Dan,
Hey,
Tim
I will-
Elliott. Yeah,
By the way, I will say this. I know I didn't pick the best stories for tonight.
oh, they're fine. They gave us something to talk about.
Yeah.
Some humor moments.
Yeah. It's kind of, yeah.
Right.
Unless it's a balloon. or AI. There's really not much talk about this week.
Or more hidden documents from a dead a president.
You're right.
They're going to be digging up John F. Kennedy, find out if he had any documents in his tomb. Tear down the Lincoln Memorial, see if there's any documents in his head.
It might be.
And just wait, Mount Rushmore, we're coming for you.
That's right.
Okay, so we are around Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern. We got to change our template document. We will be hanging around. If you happen to be hanging out on Sundays at 8 p.m., we'll be here one more week recording on the 19th, Sunday, February 19th at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then we're taking a week off because we will be on the Star Trek cruise. So just letting you know that. We need a quick break and some inspiration for some new crazy ideas. Going to meet up with some other podcasters, including, I believe, John Champion, sorry, from the Trek Files is going to be on there.
Did we set a date and time where we're going to?
Not yet, but we'll get there when we get closer.
All right.
We need to see what the itinerary looks like. And let's give a shout out to our patrons. Thank you, dear patrons. You are making this show possible by allowing us to afford the bandwidth, the streaming, the hosting, the domain registrations, all the expenses that go into this come to about $1,200 a year. That's just like the bare minimum, the storage, and with your help, we can make that happen. And we greatly, greatly appreciate that. To all of our existing patrons and anyone who thinks this show is entertaining, informative, or some combination thereof, we invite you to go over to patreon.com/Technorama podcast and take a look. We've got various levels. So as little as $1 a show, we'd love to, or maybe you want to do a one-time donation. We appreciate that too. If you reach certain tiers, like there's postcards, there's t-shirts, we've got different levels and different thank yous we send back to you throughout the year. Greg and I, excuse me, not sure what happened there.
Yeah.
Greg and I have an idea while we're on the cruise to send you something special. So all the patrons are going to get something.
We're going to pick up seashells from all the places we stop.
Oh, with the hermit crabs inside them. They're the best. Still
we'll see if they make it through TSA.
No, I'm just kidding. So thank you, Alexis Duran, Amber Elstead, Amy Bowen, Abner Braverman, Ben Vaughn. Thank you, Brian Brown, Chris Martinez, Chris MC, Dandy Man Coyer. Thank you very much, Dean Jensen, Denise Inglis, Gary Lindros. Bam. John Clifford, John Noble, Yorga Schrauen, Crazy Joe Adventures, Kyle Nishioka, who we read his message before as Mad Marv, Leon, Mark Kilfoyle, Brad Miller, Mike Wills, Saturday Morning Media. Just listen to him this morning. Stephen Weshy, Steve Therian, Steve Cody, Steve London, and Tim Cook. Thank you, everybody who makes this happen. Again, go over to patreon.com/Technorama podcast. We should come up with our own link shortener, Craig. It's kind of crazy.
We can do that.
We can. We'll figure that part out later.
We have the technology.
We have the technology. We can run it on our own server. Okay. That means we'd have to register another domain, and that would increase our expenses.
Hey, by the way,
yes.
I will put in the show a link to the show notes. I got a couple of shirts. And Gary bought one. He bought one. The Technorama podcast says established 2005. I'm not wearing it tonight, but if you want to buy that, I got a couple other shirts on there. I'll put a link to my storefront in the show notes so you can go.
I'm bringing that one on the cruise for our podcaster meetup.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Patreon.com/Technorama podcast. We've dwelt on that too much. Let's go on to Pass Me the Remote. I've spent a lot of time this last week watching a lot of reruns. Old Star Trek TNG, old Twilight Zone.
And you know what? I have two. That's why I didn't really have anything new. So
I even started in on that series that Clinton said he was watching, Dangerous Assignment, which is kind of fun for an old, early 60s black and white kind of detective show. It's not top-notch quality, but it's still fun on Amazon. But I did watch a couple of new things. One is called The Founder on Netflix. It's the story of McDonald's. and uh, not Tom Hanks, Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton plays Ray Kroc,
That's right.
who really took the franchising of the McDonald's brothers, who were out in San Bernardino, California. Starts out with his story. He's trying to sell these multi-mixers for making milkshakes to these drive-ins, and nobody's buying them. He's kind of hard up. He's had a few other ideas that have failed, so his reputation in the industry is kind of,
Tainted.
well, tainted. Yeah, because when he goes to the bank and says, I need a loan for my McDonald's store in Des Plaines, Illinois. And it's still there. If you happen to be in the area, go see. It even has a plaque out front that says Ray Kroc started this. He called that store number one, but it is not, because the McDonald's that the McDonald's brothers started in San Bernardino, they were the ones who came up with this efficient system of making burgers, selling them cheap,
Yep.
having this assembly line, almost like a Henry Ford style assembly line of the hamburgers, to just crank them out so that your order was from order to done in like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And then Ray came in, took the idea, said, hey, we can do franchising. They went, we already tried that, but quality control wasn't there. But he was able to make it work. And he started in the Chicago area and built his way out around the Midwest. And then, of course, went global. He kind of turned out to be a bit of a dick in the end.
Yeah.
Michael Keaton does well, by the way. But it was a good
Oh, yeah.
story, and made you think twice about what you know about McDonald's. Going,
Mhm.
this is all like stolen or bought technology.
Well, he bought him out, but he strong armed him to get there.
It wasn't a pleasant ending.
Mhm.
Give you
Actually, you know what I thought was very interesting was that how he came up with the idea that he's not a restaurant company, they are a real estate company.
that was the guy
that's-
that was the other guy who he
Yeah.
hooked up with.
But that's
and
how-
became
and
the first CEO.
Yeah, they
That's
changed
what
it
made
around.
them, that's what
Yeah.
changed their whole model, because he was barely surviving on just franchise fees and the what was it, the 1.5% royalties that they got on a 15-cent hamburger. He says, you're never going to survive here. What you need to do is buy the land and then lease it to
Right.
the franchisee.
And you know what? And if I'm not mistaken, I know somebody, it's a long time ago, he was telling me that he and two other people had looked into putting together a Taco Bell. And they talked to Taco Bell about a franchise, and Taco Bell does exactly that. They buy the land,
Yep.
they sell you the building to put, the materials. So they basically drop ship a building on there, and you run it, but you better have 2 million up front, easy,
Yeah,
before,
back then it was $12,500 to get a McDonald's starting for your franchise fee.
yeah, calculating
know-
inflation up to today,
I want to know what he did with those first stores, though, because he already had like half a dozen in motion when he came up with this land ownership idea. It's like, you can't go back and say, I want to buy your land.
right? Yeah. Why
So
do you
it
want the dirt? Yeah,
It was
So,
fascinating. It
it was
really
fascinating. Yep.
Yeah. And you got to know that there's probably, more than likely, some Hollywood spin on that to make it a more exciting story than it really was. I feel bad for his original wife, though. She was a very conservative person, not a risk taker. And then he latched onto this idea and kind of ran with it. And she's going, well, what about, hey, what? And he divorced her. Yeah.
Mhm.
It was kind of sad in some respects.
Yeah.
The other show that I started watching, it's an 8-part series. I've gone through 2 of them. It's called Chromosome 21. It's a story about a murder that happens in Chile. So it's all in Spanish with English subtitles, if you wish. Unless your Spanish is really good, which mine isn't good enough to follow along.
Yeah.
And the police officers come across this crime scene where somebody's been shot. And they catch a suspect at the scene who's got Down syndrome.
Right.
And he will not talk. He's either shell shocked, PTSD into this thing, or he's just clamming up because he doesn't want to implicate himself.
Yeah. Scared. Remember.
They discover who he is and who his brother is, and this starts to unwind into a really intriguing story. Like, okay, his brother was there. Did his brother shoot him, or did Tommy, the guy with Down syndrome, did he shoot him? So it's like, ooh, this is getting good. It's moving a little slower than I would have expected, but
Mhm.
it's an 8-part series. Again, I'm a quarter way through it. I'm enjoying it. It's called Chromosome 21 because Chromosome 21 is the one that is involved with Down syndrome.
Right.
They do a little research on that. But it's got some they bring in lots of actors with Down syndrome. Like he's got a girlfriend. He has to go to this institution for uh, mentally handicapped, mentally impaired patients. And there's this real dynamic situation with Karen, who's kind of the queen bee of this institution, and she does not like Tommy,
Right.
and they have it
Wow.
out. So they're playing this battle of of wills almost. Uh,
Right.
so I'm finding it entertaining, but you got to keep up on the captions or you will miss a lot. So
Oh, yeah.
be good at reading captions. Chromosome 21 on Netflix. Enjoy it very
Well,
much.
by the time you're listening to this show, I got something I'm looking forward to, and that's Picard starting back up.
Yes, Picard season 3 is starting on
Season 3.
Thursday the 16th.
Yes. And everything that I'm seeing, people are loving it. People that have had early access to it and seen it. So I'm looking forward to it. That sounds encouraging to me. And
We might as well
during,
stick in a plug for our Topic is Trek podcast as well.
I know, yeah. So
Topic.com.
follow us on topicustrek.com. Go there, and we'll be recording it Thursday night. What'll be released on Friday. Our podcast on talking about Picard, and then a couple of things I'm excited for. I saw at the Super Bowl they played the Flash
Yeah.
trailer, which I thought looks amazing. So I'm looking forward to that, and Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
That I saw the commercial with Drax sitting on the couch. That did not intrigue me.
Well, it is a trailer, so um, I don't know. I love the last two Guardians movies, and I'm looking forward to this one.
Oh yeah, they're always intriguing, but just the trailer was kind of lackluster in my opinion.
Well, it is their last outing, and it had kind of a slow feel, like emotional feel. It was emotionally heavy, I think.
Picard's last outing.
Yeah.
It's Fast and the Furious last outing. It's Guardians last outing.
But we're still here. Whatever that's worth.
Let's keep going. All right, we have a couple in the Geek Library. You must have snuck these in on the last few minutes because I do not remember.
Oh, you didn't? No, they were in there this morning.
Afternoon.
Yeah, it's in the stuff.
Maybe I quit early. Let's play the Geek Library thing while I open up a couple links. First story is from Radio sargam.com.fj. Where's that? Fiji?
I'm not sure. I think so.
About an Idaho man who sets a Guinness World Book of Records by officially stomping on 100 balloons in 22.38 seconds. That's faster than 4 balloons a second.
Hey, you got to hang your hat on something, man.
Whatever it takes.
You know what?
When he does those team building exercises, and they say 2 truths and a lie.
Yeah. Did I bust 101 balloons?
Tell us something interesting about yourself. I'm in the Guinness World Book of Records.
That's right.
Really? What for?
I have to say, when I read stuff like that, I see anything that has to do with the Guinness book.
Yep.
I love it because when growing up,
I had 2 copies.
Yeah, the big thick book. I loved all the little niche categories like this. You know, he stomped 100 balloons with his feet. I'm like, okay, who does that? I guess find out. You know,
Craig's
really digging into some of those.
Dreaming big.
Yeah. One day I'll be in there for
stomping balloons or something else.
Yeah, podcasting consecutively for 18 years.
All right, we have a story about the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile, and I think this was our first field assignment for you down in South Carolina. You were in Charlotte, and the Wienermobile was there.
I was at work, and they had. I think if I remember right, when they have the big race in town, like the in the at Charlotte,
Yeah.
they block off Tryon Street and they have like a big festival down there. And so during the lunchtime, there was I went down there and used my Dell Axim and recorded, which was basically a PDA, recorded an interview and it turned out all right. With the lady that was driving the Wienermobile. Anyway,
Well,
so
been a theft. It was
Been a
in Las
theft.
Vegas, and the Wienermobile last week had its catalytic converter stolen.
this is an epidemic. Epidemic. It's an epidemic because even like near my mountain house, all the time I see people getting their muffler stolen or catalytic converters stolen because people are wanting that copper in there.
Yeah, that's what the article says. It's a huge problem,
Mhm.
said Rodriguez. It's been going on for a couple of years now, last summer especially. It was like 2 or 3 months to get one. The repair can be a challenge. In addition to the major part, gaskets, sensors, and sealing the replacement can be tedious. There's gaskets there that you need to reseal the converter, and then there's sensors all along that area to regulate the heat and temperatures of the system.
Mhm.
Those are gone as well. They tear that apart to get to whatever they want. So it's more than 2,600 catalytic converters were stolen or reported stolen in 2022, up from 1894 the previous year. Oh, goody, it's going up. A 72% increase.
Oh
Yikes.
yeah, it's crazy.
It contained precious metals, including palladium and platinum,
Mhm.
and can be turned into quick cash by thieves.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I said copper a minute ago. But that's not right. But yeah, the people are stealing those things and selling them. And I said I've seen stories of this every week. Somebody else has had
The
their
Wienermobile, people. It's a sacred place. You don't steal from the Wienermobile. You might as well steal from the Pope Mobile too.
don't steal from. Don't steal his catalytic converter.
Certain vehicles you just don't go after. Those
The Pope's catalytic
Batmobile?
the Pope's catalytic converter converts wine into water.
No.
The other way around.
He's probably going to have fuel cells that turn the hydrogen the water exhaust into wine.
Why is this water vapor red? Well, it's actually wine. Come right out. It's a Merlot. It's a nice Merlot now.
Following behind with a glass. Put a tap on it. All right, that takes us to the end of the show on that humorous moment. Sorry about the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile. If you haven't heard of this, you live in a different country and you haven't seen it, go look it up. It's a big vehicle shaped like a giant hot dog in a bun.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it fun. It's been around for 50 years or more.
It is pretty cool to see. If you ever get a chance, you can see it. And if I remember right, and I'll try and remember to link up the interview I did with them. But what they do is they hire college kids over the summer to drive it around. So if you're a college kid or you know one, it'd be a pretty cool, summer job.
Maybe that could be our retirement. Who knows?
What do? I drive a wiener around.
I got the hottest buns in town. The fastest buns in town.
Fastest buns in town.
All right, let's go to the question of the week for next time. What industry do you hope won't exist in 10 years? So in 2033, what do you hope is no longer a thing?
The catalytic converter fencing system.
Could be. How about just gas, internal combustion engines that run on gas?
I don't know. 10 years, that's a pretty tight timeline for something.
Yeah. Like hopefully I'll have an all-electric vehicle that will go a decent range by that time. We'll see. With fast charging. That's what I want.
How about when you pull in your garage and there's a wireless charger under your car?
Like a big Qi charger?
Just funk. Just
could be done.
Yeah.
No reason you can't. Just need enough coils and circuitry. All right, that takes us to the end. Don't forget, if you want to be a patron, you can go over to patreon.com/Technorama podcast. You can get a hold of us in a number of ways. Our voicemail line has been quiet. Text us or call us at 707-530-2428. Craig's going to put that on the screen for you right now.
I'm doing it as we speak.
Email us at technorama@chuckchat.com. You can find our website at chuckchat.com/Technorama. Pretty easy stuff to figure out. Lots of great stories. If you want to go to the show notes for episode 702, follow along, read along, submit stories if you like. You find something weird and interesting on the internet, go, oh, this is right up Technorama's alley. I got to tell them about it.
Yes, dude, please.
That's what we see. We appreciate it. And thank you again to all our patrons. Until next time, tell a friend about Technorama, and Craig, give us a binary high five.
All right, 101.
Thanks, everybody. All right, main show is done. They just showed Elon Musk at the Super Bowl in a box seat.
Is this a Twitter?
And Kansas City Chiefs caused a fumble that they turned into another touchdown. That's 2, and now they are ahead. Philadelphia's playing better except for turnovers, and that's a problem. That'll cost you a game. All right, we are going to sign off of the video stream at this point.
Hey, by the way, before
Yeah.
you log off, I was just looking the Wienermobile interview.
Mhm.
That was from August of 2005. Just wow, it's a long time ago.
Long time ago, shortly after we started, actually.
Yeah, I was just like, I was in podcast mode big time then. I was like, wait, I got something I can record. I'm gonna go out there and do it now.
This is going to make my career.
Yeah. Well, all I had was that Dell Axum PDA when a lot of people were trying to use the iRivers and
Yep.
That stuff.
Hey, whatever it takes.
It worked.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. We will talk to you again in 1 week's time. Take care.